Well, hey everyone, this is Kim at The Abled Gardener, and I was just planting some bok choy. Well, wait a minute, it's not bok choy. It's actually pak choy, and this is from my online friend and gardening friend, Trixie, and I hadn't had the opportunity to plant it last year, so I thought I'm going to plant it this year for sure. And instead of putting it in a little 6-cell packs, I decided to use this long container and see if just see how it grew in there, and then I would go ahead and transplant it out to my garden in one of my boxes that has I'm going to be putting a hoop house on it. So I've got those planted, and I've got my new little thermometer or soil thermometer, and I'm going to test out the soil and see what the soil temperature is. Now this had come in from outdoors, so the soil ought to be pretty cold. I did set it on some warming lights, so it should have come up a little bit since being in here. And it looks like the temperature has come up to 65 degrees, so that's not bad. The seeds ought to germinate, well, it went up to 66. The seeds ought to be germinating pretty quick, and then I'll have some pak choy to, well, take out later and transplant into my garden. Anyway, if you guys are wondering where I am in my greenhouse that used to be in my garage. So if you watched any of my episodes last year, I would just say, this is Kim, welcome to my garage, something like that. Anyway, I used to have this greenhouse out in my garage apartment conversion, and it was up against a slider door facing the north. So it got light coming through, but not direct sunlight. Now in this spare bedroom, it has a south-facing window. Now it's nighttime now. I didn't want to be doing a video with the sun shining right through the window and shining in your eyes. But the sun does shine in the small window. It helps heat up this greenhouse. Plus I have grow lights in here that help to heat it up a little bit. So far everything is going really well. But I just got the greenhouse set up yesterday. I still have a lot of lights and grow mats, the heating mats, different things like that to go in my greenhouse. Now, sometime, probably about 2 or 3 months ago, we had the opportunity to have some of our family move in. They moved in the garage, so my greenhouse was taken down, and it was taken down pretty fast. So a lot of the things I had in here went into different boxes and got put in different places. So that's why I'm looking around trying to find a lot of different things that go in here. So what I wanted to talk to you guys about was having a greenhouse inside, even if it is in your garage or a spare bedroom, and just growing plants inside or starting your seedlings inside. But I want to take just a second to go get a chair, because squatted down here like this with my knees kind of stuck up in the air is a little uncomfortable. So I'm going to go grab a chair and I'll be right back. Well, you guys, this is definitely a lot better. Not only do I have a seat to sit on, but the seat is padded, so that's an additional plus. So what I wanted to discuss was I'm getting my greenhouse up. It's not there all the way yet, because as I had mentioned, that I can't find everything that was in my greenhouse before. But I'm trying to get it set up pretty much the same way it was in the garage. Now this is a very inexpensive greenhouse. I'll put the URL down below as to where you can find greenhouses at a fairly reasonable price. And I believe that is greenhouse.com. But I do have grow lights in here. I have some heating mats. I still have some of that to find. But I wanted to show you the different things I have in here so far and what I use in my greenhouse. So those of you who want to grow just anything inside, if you want to start seeds or just grow plants inside, then you can see a little bit of what I have and what I found that works. Now, these things have worked for me. It might not work for you, but I did want to show you because I'm getting excited now. I've got my greenhouse up, or I've got it back, and this has been a big part of my life, is just, you know, being able to grow plants inside or seeds, get them outside. So the lights I do have, there are two different kinds. I do have, I believe it's the CFL, the little, I want to say curlicue, the little curlicue lights that they're CFL, I think that stands for compact fluorescent light. It's 5500, but I think 5500 is a pretty good light on the growing scale. You think you're not going to learn anything from this video, and you may not, but it's just It's just me telling you what I'm doing today. So I've got the CFL lights, the little curly Q lights. They're at a 5500K, and what that covers is, let me just see if I can turn this on. And you know, they're pretty bright. They're the really bright light. And what that does is it makes the plants grow shorter, darker green, and it really works well for indoor lighting. Now the other lighting I have that I found, last summer sometime, they are little compact fluorescent lights on, well, it's like a little bar. It's about 6 inches wide, almost 2 feet long, and it's got a double light in there. They are sold as grow lights at Home Depot. Can't remember how much they cost, right around, I want to say $45, and I can put that URL down below too. And I have these lights just hooked to the bottom of each shelf. Now, that works really well. It also comes with a chain, so you can put the light up and down. So what I've found is really nice about those lights, I can hook them to the shelf that's above the plants. And then instead of having the chain and making the chain, you know, moving the chain up and down, I just put the plants below and I raise them all the way up to the light with like a cardboard box underneath. Then as they start to grow and they're growing up into the lights, I just take that cardboard box out, and I'm finding it was a lot easier than undoing the chain and moving the chains around. So I've got those lights, and I also have heating mats. I've got probably 3 heat mats. Now I've only found one, and it's in here, and it's in between 2 storage boxes. So what I usually do is I'll get 2 like under the bed containers, just storage containers. They're only about 5 inches tall, and they fit perfectly on these shelves. What I'll do in the bottom one is I'll put some kind of heat mat or something that can heat the soil up. Then I'll put the top box in, and that's where the plants go. So I can overwater the plants, I can pour some water in with the plants if I think they'll dry out, and that won't get down to the heating mat or whatever kind of electrical lighting I have down there. And it worked perfectly fine last year, and that's the way I'm doing it again this year. So here is my little 2-tote tier system. I get 2 totes. These were probably about $4 a piece. And in the bottom tote, I have a heat mat down here on the bottom. Then I get the upper tote set in there on the heat, and then I put my plants inside. So I can overwater them, or I can put water down below for them to just wick it up from the bottom, and it won't hurt that heat mat or get it wet. Now over on this other shelf, I went ahead, I took the plants off to show you my heating mat or heat mat that I have up here, or sometimes called a warming mat. They will heat your soil up 10 to 20 degrees above the ambient temperature. So if I don't heat this room, like I don't plan on heating the room, if it stays about 55 or 60 degrees in here, this will heat it up 10 to 20 degrees above that. And what I do, since the shelves are just this, well, it's see-through metal here, or see-through wire, what I do is I set the heating mat on a couple pieces of cardboard. That way I'm going to keep more of my heat to go into the plants instead of going down through the shelving and just be lost. So I'm just saving some energy there and using the heat on my plants instead of losing it underneath. So if you can't find heating mats, or they're too expensive for you to buy, something like that, this is just a 6-foot rope light. I got that from Home Depot. I believe it was right around $6.50. And you just take the rope light and you snake it into some kind of container. And this could be just another short tote. You just snake it in the bottom, then you go ahead and put another one over the top of that, and then put your plants inside, and take the temperature of your soil, making sure that it's not too hot. So one thing you need to do is keep aware of the temperature of your soil. If your soil gets up to be, say, 85, 95 degrees, and what you're doing is growing, say, brassica family, cabbage, kale, different things like that, then that temperature of the soil is too high. And what you can do, just take the top tray out, put some cardboard over those lights, then put the tray back on, and that little sheet of cardboard will just bring the temperature of those lights down. And you would be amazed at how you can just fool around with the cardboard and the lights, and you can get your soil to be the exact temperature that you want it to be. Well, you guys, can you believe it? This greenhouse is big enough for me to sit in somehow. Anyway, I wanted to stress the fact that if you have any kind of heat underneath your plants or your seeds, you want to make sure and keep an eye on it on a regular basis. So make sure you get a soil temperature probe and take the temperature of the soil often, just to make sure that it hasn't gotten too hot or that it's too cold if you haven't seen the seeds come up. And also keep an eye on the soil moisture. Now they do make soil moisture probes, and I don't think I've gotten a new one of those yet, but keep an eye on the moisture of the soil, because being on heat, they can dry out really quick. So that's why I use the 2-tote system. Is I can have my plants in the top tote. If they're drying out quickly, I can even have some water just down in the bottom of the tote. And then in the bottom tote that's underneath, I can have my grow mat or my heat mat, my Christmas tree lights, my rope light, whatever's down below, and it's not going to get wet and cause a fire or short your circuitry out. So that brings me to one of the last things I was going to talk about, which was possibly shorting something out. So make sure that you get a 3-prong extension cord that has a breaker on it. So just one of those little breaker bar extension cords. And then another great thing to have, you don't have to, but a great thing to have is a timer. You can plug your extension cord into the timer and then just set it for whatever, however you want the lights and the heat mats to come on and go off. I know some of you like to have your lights on, say 24 hours a day. I don't necessarily do that. I do 12 on, 12 off. And everything in here is really inexpensive to run. So I don't think 12 on, 12 off is going to be using too much electricity. But anyway, I do 12 on, 12 off. Well, the very last thing I want to talk to you guys about is how nice it is to have an indoor greenhouse if you're handicapped in any way or you're disabled. So the opening here of the greenhouse makes this available to me if I'm using my walker. So let me just show you. So as you can see, besides, well, you can't see, there's one little bump I have to get over, that's the frame of the greenhouse. But other than that, I can bring my walker in, I can turn around, sit down, I can work on my plants, plant seeds, I can do anything I want to, and I have enough room. But this is so, it's so easy. And you can even get a wheelchair in here, because I've tried. I've got my wheelchair right behind you guys, and I've pushed my wheelchair in here. I don't have to use it very often, but when I do use it, I can come in here and I can check on my plants in my greenhouse. So other than that, I do use my walker quite a bit, and it fits right in here and it makes it really nice. Now, even if I am growing some plants on the floor, I can still just walk in here and get this pushed in to where I can do anything that I want to do. Now, I know you guys can't see me really well, but anyway, let me turn around and sit down. That was my last thing I wanted to talk to you about, was if you are disabled or handicapped in any way, you can still garden. And that is such a great thing for so many people, to be able to just plant a seed. It's such a great thing for so many people. It's such a great thing for so many people to be able to just come in and plant some seeds and see them grow. To come in, these are some seeds that I planted, about a month ago, with some coneflowers. I planted, I don't know, probably 3 seeds in here, and I've got a little coneflower blooming in my greenhouse, inside in my house, in my indoor garden. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys later. I think I better go. It's been a long day, and I'm so glad you came and joined me today, you guys. Thanks for stopping by. God bless. Bye-bye, you guys. Now this is my, I almost called this my street walker. Oh,